Today we're going to be talking about 5 boom or bust players for the Patriots in this upcoming season. Now, what does that even mean, boom or bust? Well, in this video, it basically means that they're either going to have a breakout season this year and show some really good improvements, or basically they're a bust if they don't. In my opinion, of course. If you guys smash the like button, there's a 200% chance that all of these players will make the Pro Bowl and Hall of Fame after this season, so be sure to like the video if you want that to happen. You might have noticed I ended my upload streak yesterday. I got a little too busy and obviously I lost that streak. So here's to starting a new one. We're going to start today, day 1. At number 5, we have Isaiah Wynn, and this is actually one of the more surprising ones on the list. There is some obvious ones, and then there's some surprising ones. This one is definitely one of those ones where I feel like there might be some controversy, some people that disagree. But this one isn't even for quality of play, it's for amount of play, because he struggled with injuries. He missed his entire rookie season, and then in his sophomore season of 2019, he missed half the season. He played in 8 games. And then in 2020, last season, he played in 10 games. So that was a little bit of an improvement. He worked his way from 8 to 10 games that he was able to stay healthy in. But at this point, we really need to see, I would say it's basically a bust if he misses any games this season, in my opinion. If there is any sort of injury struggles this season, that is going to be a big sign that we need to watch out for this player moving forward and possibly think about adding some insurance behind him or possibly just completely replacing him because of health concerns. And it pains me to say that because I love the way he plays and the quality of play. I want to see him get healthy so badly. I want to see him have a healthy season. But if he continues to be injured for half the season or maybe a little bit less, but that's, year after year what we get from him, we definitely need a player behind him at least that can fill in the gap when he's not there, because at that point, if he has another injury-prone season, we know he's not going to be there the entire season most years. That would be basically 4 out of 4 years he's injured at some point. So that's not a good track record with injuries. So we're going to be watching him. That's why he's number 5 though, because it's not necessarily quality of play, it's mostly just time of play. So that's the only one that is for that reason, actually. Number 4 is going to be Juwan Williams, and this one's a little bit more surprising as well because he hasn't necessarily played bad, but that's mostly because he hasn't played that much whatsoever. And I do expect him to take a big leap, so this is why he's number 4 and not up there in like the top 3, because I do actually anticipate that we will end up seeing more of the boom side of things than bust side of things, because when we have seen him on the field, whether it be preseason or regular season, he has shown promise, and we know this player is a smart player. That was one of the things we heard coming out of college football. We knew he was going to be an intelligent player, really more just brains over, athleticism, although he is quite athletic and he is tall as well. Standing at 6'3", he is a taller cornerback, and we've heard that he might move to safety. He has flirted with playing a little bit of safety as well. I think this could be our Devin McCourty replacement. I've said that for a couple of seasons now. He's 23, so he does have time to turn things around, but at this point, we haven't seen much from him. He is one of those second-round defensive backs from the Patriots, which if you don't know, I do have a video on that, but there is a track record of just terrible drafting from our team in the second round, especially when it comes to defensive backs, and this has been... He's probably one of like 5 in the past 10 years, and not a single one has panned out yet. So if he does pan out, he will be kind of an anomaly at that point. We're going to be watching to see what he does this upcoming season. He could get a little bit more of playing time, especially if Stephon Gilmore walks away from the Patriots, although I really hope and I really don't think that's going to be the case. But if that does occur, that will open up some playing time for Juwan Williams. That's why he's number 4 on the list. Not necessarily one of the ones that I expect to bust, but he's definitely making the list. At number 3, I have the only Patriot that was not drafted by the Patriots to make this list. So this was a signing that we made, and this is going to be Cam Newton. This one's pretty obvious, so this is one of the less surprising ones, but at number 3, we have Cam Newton, and obviously it would be good to have him play good this season. I've mentioned that for multiple different reasons. Reason number 1 is that Mac Jones can sit on the bench and learn without being forced to play before he's ready. That is the worst thing that can happen for a rookie quarterback or even just a young quarterback in general. You want them to be ready. You want them to be outplaying every quarterback and basically fighting for that starting position and earning it. You don't want to need them. You don't want to be like, okay, we got to put Mac in. We got to get some wins. We got to do something here. We got to see if we can win with Mac. You don't want it to be that situation, and that's number one reason why we would want Cam to be good. And two, because we might be able to trade him later on, eventually down the road, and that would be increasing his stock. And for his sake, it doesn't really matter. He would want to play good because he might get signed, whether it's in the free agency or traded. He would want, obviously, his trade stock or free agency stock to be improved so that he could get a better deal, obviously. So there's many reasons why it would be good for Cam Newton to play good. He's on that boomer bust because last season was very shaky, more interceptions than passing touchdowns, although he did rush for his second most rushing touchdowns in his career. So the rushing wasn't that bad at all. I would like to see a little bit of a decrease in the fumbles. But if he keeps the same rushing numbers but passes for more touchdowns, that would be really, really good for his sake and for our sake, obviously. Now, number two, this one is a little surprising as well. Sony Michel, and this one, in my opinion, is obvious because, his rookie season, a lot of the rushing plays with him were just, it was explosive. You could see that he was getting, 7 to 15 yards per rush sometimes, and it was just very explosive plays. And then 2019 was a little bit less of that, but still really good. And then last season, it seemed like there was no plays like that. There was no explosive plays, and it was mostly just very short gains and sometimes even losses. A lot of 1 to 3 rushing yard runs, and it really just was not good. The only time he turned around last season, because you might look at the stat sheet and see that it actually was not bad to end things, the only time it got good is when he wasn't the starting running back, when we were running Damian Harris and other running backs as well, and then Sony Michel was coming in situationally, the third down, things like that. That's when he started to get things together, and that's why his yards per carry went up a lot, because he started to do better once he wasn't the starting running back. I think this season for Sony Michel, I really want to see him have another season that's above 700 yards. He only had 1 touchdown last season, too, on 79 rushes, so that's obviously not good either. I would like to see him get over 700 yards and over 5 touchdowns for him to be a player that we should consider keeping around. That's my opinion, obviously. I don't work for the Patriots, so it doesn't really matter what I think, but this is just my thoughts. So this is what I'm working through. I think I want to see him get 700 yards, 5+ touchdowns, and then I'll probably change my mind about him possibly being a bust. Number one, leave a comment down below before I switch the screen who you think it's going to be, and I'm pretty sure 99% of you will get it right. N'Keal Harry. This guy right here, let me tell you, this guy right here, I swear, ever since he got that touchdown versus the Chiefs that got basically called not a touchdown, but it was definitely a touchdown, I swear something on that play just changed his career, because I think he was building momentum up to that point, finally, and then that happened, and it was just so demoralizing. I think that just lowered his confidence, and we've struggled ever since then with him. He has improved because in his rookie season, he had, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns, and that was in 7 games played. He only had 24 targets. So for a first-round pick, that's obviously not necessarily what you're hoping for. But then in his sophomore season last year in 2020, he did have 300 yards. So that's 3 times better than his rookie season. And then he had 2 touchdowns again, so that brings his career total to 4. But I really think for N'Keal Harry to be a player that we should consider keeping around, and for me to not consider him a bust, I want to see, it's pretty similar to Sony Michel. I want to see 500 yards plus, and I want to see 5 touchdowns plus. And that's bare minimum for me to be like, okay, this guy might actually be good and might be worth that first-round pick now. He might finally be turning it around. I need to see some solid improvement here. I need him to at least nearly double those yards in order for me to feel that way. I think he can do it. He has slimmed down. He has changed some things because separation was the main issue, and him slimming down might help that separation and just the speed in general. It's not going to help him to just muscle defenders, but I think that that's not the issue. I think the separation is the issue, and if he can get separation, that might turn his career around. This is his prove-it year. He is number 1 on this list for obvious reasons. I think most people will agree with my number 1 here on this list. Let me know what you think of this list. Let me know what you agree with, what you don't agree with, what you would change. Maybe you would prioritize things a little bit differently. Let me know. Is there any players you would put on this list? Is there any players you would take off of this list? I'm very, very curious. Be sure to destroy the like button to help the YouTube algorithm out as I'm trying to grow this channel. Also, leaving a comment helps as well, just to improve the algorithm also. Be sure to subscribe if you like Patriots content or just football content. Literally just subscribe. I don't care what the reason is. And I will hope to see you guys in some future videos. See you guys hopefully tomorrow.